If you are looking for the best way to start investing in 2025 and what to invest in, look no further. Today, we're going over the best possible strategy of how you can get started at investing going into 2025. And this will carry forward indefinitely because it has worked for the last 100 years and it will continue to work going forward. So as you can see right here, I've amassed about $61,000 in investments, and then I do have, another $20,000 in cash. And the way I've been able to do that is number one is just by budgeting and staying consistent to, the strategy I've implemented, and that is saving X amount per paycheck or per month. And that is up to you to decide. As long as you are putting some aside towards your retirement and investing, that is going to be fantastic and will pay dividends both literally and figuratively down the line. So if you're new to investing, the only thing you should really be focusing on is getting as much money invested as you possibly can. And obviously, don't put a ton of constraints on yourself. Just invest what you can. And, if you have any extra funds, definitely try and, toss that into your investments. But if I were to recommend anybody invest in anything, I would only say that you should buy S&P 500 ETFs, especially if you have a very long time horizon when you're investing. For me, I'm 25 years old, so I have, another 35 or 30-ish years of time to have my money compound over itself. And the S&P 500 has historical returns of about 10% a year, which we'll look at in just a moment. But this is going to be your best bet to quote unquote beat the market. And because I say that because you're going to beat everyone around you who's trying to beat the market because it is the top 500 companies that are constantly being rotated out. So you're always having the best companies in your portfolio while other people are trying to load the boat on either a certain sector or a specific company. Now, there will be people who do hit the Teslas, the Apples, the Nvidias before they get big, but those are very few and far between. And by constantly buying something like Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, VOO, you're going to pay a very small fee to have that balanced, and you're always going to be up there competing with very competitive returns when you compare yourself to other companies and other ETFs on the market. Now, when you do go and look at these ETFs that mimic the S&P 500, always look at the fund expense ratio. VOO's is 0.03%. So that means for, they're going to take 0.03% every single year when they rebalance the portfolio. And it's such a small price that you're going to be paying, especially when you compare it to other funds, which are upwards of about a percent. So you're not losing out on that at all. Now, the ETF I personally am going to be putting the most money in is in SPLG. It's a spider ETF. They also have SPY, but this has the lowest expense ratio of 0.02%. Now, I know Fidelity has some out there that are 0% expense ratios, but um, for general purposes, mine is going to be the S&P 500. Now, assuming you're able to invest into the S&P 500, expense ratio aside, let's take a look and see how powerful this can actually be. If we choose the low end of the return rate, we'll say 9%. We get 9%. We'll just do it annually, so it only compounds once a year. If you started with $0 and put $500 a month into this account, and we go calculate, after 35 years, you'd have about $1.35 million. And if we go to the slightly higher end of this, it's closer to $1.7 million. Now, obviously, you're going to want to mess around with the contributions that you'll be able to make, and especially if you're on the earlier side of your journey and are just getting into the workforce and are just starting to have income, that number is going to be significantly lower than someone who is, say, in their 30s or 40s, who've had more time to build up their experience and are making more money and hopefully are putting more and more aside. And if we just make an assumption here for the next 35 years, if you only maxed out your Roth IRA, which is $7,000 a year, right now comes out to about $1.9 million. So you'd be retiring with around $2 million. And you've done nothing other than go into an account and click purchase on either SPLG or VOO or any other S&P 500 ETF. Now, if that's not easy, I don't know what is. It's tried, it's proven. it just works because you're constantly getting, the average of 10% per year. And then after, 20, 30 years, your gains are compounding gains, and then it just kind of explodes. I'm sure you all know the first $100,000 that you invest is the hardest, but that if you contributed $10,000 a year, it would take you just under 8 years to get to $100,000, and it'd take you about 4.5 to get to 200,000. So the 100,000 is by far the hardest part. And as you saw, I am well on my way there in the next couple of years. I'm hoping to hit that $100,000 mark and just kind of see everything take off from there. So, thanks for listening today. If you got any value out of this, make sure to let me know down in the comments and let me know which ETF you're going to be buying. If it is VOO or SPLG, or if there's another one out there that I'm not aware of, definitely let me know down in the comments. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Until next time, take care, everybody.